To Colonel Thapar here. Colonel Thapar, sir, clearly a war, I'm talking about the entire Kargil conflict, clearly a war led mostly by young leaders who showed the kind of determination, who showed the kind of sacrifice, the kind of willpower needed to fight a war at a high altitude area where even walking is difficult, sir, leave alone fighting. Fighting is another matter, even walking a few paces is difficult. And our youngsters, they could be officers or JCOs or Jawans, people at a very young age, they fought at those icy heights. Today we salute all of them, sir. Those who did not come back and those who did. We salute them, we salute their sacrifices. Colonel V.N. Thapar, sir.
First of all, let me congratulate everybody on this very great day, a golden page in our history. So with that, we come back to the point where you left. I think the success of this operation largely rests on very spirited officers who led from the front by personal example, because anything more than a platoon could not be deployed at all. So it was a very, very difficult task, particularly I recall where my son went. It was at 16,000 feet, very high. It was difficult to breathe as it is. And on top of it, they were all carrying 20 to 25 kgs of load on them. Not only that, the enemy was sitting on a dominating position, very dominating position, to which the approaches were so restricted. And those approaches were totally covered by machine gun and artillery fire. So it was a very, very difficult task to do. How they did it? With some divine fire into them that came. The spirit of the country was a total display over there. And you see the Pakistanis had taken all that they could do. They couldn't have done anything more. The gradient at this place where Vijay attacked was almost 80 degrees, bare rock surface, and the temperature on that day was minus 15 degrees. So you can see how the entire atmosphere was made this attack so difficult, yet they did it, and yet they produced the results. So I think today we can
absolutely, sir,
talk about the degree of motivation, the degree of dedication to their mission, which was originated from the idea that India is an idea worth dying for. So that's the kind of motivation everyone had.
Absolutely,
529 of them, they were moved and by this fire to get onto the objective and get the enemy out of that.
Absolutely, sir. Right. Thank you very much for your kind words, sir. Excellent. I go to General G.D. Bakshi now, sir. Colonel Thapar spoke about divine fire. He spoke about divine fire. 529 brave hearts, he's saying, laid down their lives for the country. There is something inside a soldier, sir. While everybody contributed equally, sir, while everybody, there was artillery, there was the Air Force, and everybody contributed, sir. But basically, a hardcore infantry encounter, you'll agree with me, sir. Basically, an infantry encounter at heights which I think no other army in the world has possibly fought at. Today, when we talk about what is happening in Daulat Beg Oldi or in Galwan and other areas near Pangong So Lake, these people fought against an entrenched enemy, sir. So when we talk about high altitude warfare, we talk about Mod M, modification N in the Indian Army. How, almost the ratio is 1:9 when you attack uphill. And people attacked. We won, sir. Our army won. How big? I mean, I just want you to explain, General G.D. Bakshi, sir. Because, we keep on visiting Kargil, Vijay, Diwas. But the people who actually fought in Kargil, so you are there, General K.K. Sinha is there, Major D.P. Singh is there. It's very difficult. I'm going to ask all of you to tell us how difficult was it actually to fight in Kargil. General G.D. Bakshi, sir.
Gaurav, I was in Kargil when the first intrusions took place. They had taken place surprisingly around 1987, and a major clash had erupted in 1991-92. So I was there with my battalion, commanding my battalion at that time. I had 6 men killed, 21 wounded. We had then received 1 Veer Chakra, 4 Sena medals and 1 Vishis Seva medal, along with a whole host of smaller awards, artillery, mortars, air defense guns, Grad P, mortar tube, Grad P, rocket tubes, everything was used. So we've had a series of intrusions there, a number of which were blanked out. And like I said, in my unit alone, we had suffered 6 killed and 21 wounded. 40 feet of snow falls there, Gaurav, 40 feet of snow falls there. And avalanches take place. There are crevasses, there are frost bites, there are chill blains, there is hypoxia. Your lungs burn, and before you fight the enemy, you have to fight the elements. And despite all this, with 25 kgs of loads upon their backs, our boys did the impossible. And it drew admiration from the whole world. An American correspondent said, the Indian Army is an army that truly fights. But Gaurav, the best tribute came from a Northern Light Infantry trooper who said, those Indians were crazy. He was giving an interview to the Time magazine. He said those Indians were crazy. They just kept crawling up the slope like ants. We kept shooting, but they would not stop. Our trigger fingers began to ache, and then they got absolutely bruised. But these people just would not stop. They kept coming on and on and on. I think this is the best tribute the Indian Army could have gotten, and it came from the enemy. It came from the enemy himself. No wonder, Gaurav, that today the Indian Army is recognized as one of the best armies in the world as far as experience of mountain warfare goes. The Chinese officers acknowledged this recently, that in whiteout operations at Siachen, at the height of 21,000 feet, our army has been operating, has attacked, has held defenses, stays throughout the year. And then in the heights of 16 to 18,000 feet from a valley of 7,000 feet, our boys had gone up and thrown the Pakistanis out.
I would request all our panelists and our viewers to stay tuned, don't go away. We'll be back after a very short break, celebrating 25 years of Kargil.